The first question, I think the most important to me right now is how do we pronounce your name and your surname in the right way? Because the discussions are endless.
I'm cursed with a really bad name. See, I live in America, and in America they even have a harder time pronouncing my name right. So it's Jost Zetzsche.
Jost.
Jost Zetzsche.
Okay. I'll remember that it's Jost.
Good.
Okay, so hello Jost. I was wondering if you could give me just a general impression on the conference, your ideas. How do you feel here?
Well, to me the conference was a huge success. It was tremendous to have 300 people, more than 300 people come to the conference here. And it seems to me that that Russia has a fairly young translation industry, and I noticed that by realizing that many people actually didn't know each other here and met for the first time, and for a young industry to have an event like this with fairly well-known speakers and with very dynamic lectures that many of the speakers gave, I think was a huge success, and it was a great atmosphere. I thought the gala dinner was lovely last night, and it's very well organized. I think the hotel is tremendous, I think, and so yeah, to me it was a huge success, and it was fun meeting new people, and I think that the organizers should be very proud of what they achieved here.
How do you find the content of the presentations, the content of the speakers? Did you have a chance to find any new ideas or inspirations?
Well, to be really honest, I didn't go to many of the Russian presentations. I went to a couple, and I went to a number of English presentations, to most of the English presentations, and I thought they were of very high quality. I've heard some of them before, but I also thought it was very interesting, for instance, to have the fellow from the BBC yesterday, I forgot his name, was Jeff or Chris, the guy who talked about interpretation, who used to work for the BBC. So he was very inspirational, I think, for instance, I thought it was. What I thought was interesting, that people seemed to be really eager to go to sessions. So rather than hang around in the hallway during the sessions and talk with each other, they actually went to the sessions eager to learn about stuff, which is a good sign, I think.
Did you find any relevant contacts? Somebody, representatives of translation companies, or just freelancers, or industry representatives that you would like to work with or cooperate in the future?
Well, partly I think because of the talks that I gave, which really were mostly geared towards freelance translators. Most of my contacts were freelance translators. What I did find is I found a number of good contacts with universities, I think, that may become more interesting as teaching opportunities. But I did find it remarkable that there were quite a few representatives of the oil and gas industry, for instance, and there was a nice mix of agency owners and freelance translators here, and that's quite special. I'm not sure whether you're aware of that, but in the US, for instance, people are working very hard to get those three groups together to come to conferences, and here it seemed to have been really natural to have everybody from the industry come and talk to each other, so that was really positive, I thought.
As a foreigner, was it interesting for you to be here, or did you find it quite hard to follow some of the speeches, things that are going on here because of the Russian, or was it okay? Was it nicely organized and you didn't feel any uncomfortableness?
Oh, not at all. No, it was, just the fact that each of us, foreigners got a personal interpreter and had that person follow you everywhere and be ready to interpret at any time was fantastic. And also I thought that the professional interpreting services doing some of the talks were outstanding. So no, I think that the organizers did a wonderful job bridging whatever uncomfortableness there could have been between the English speakers or English only speakers and the Russians. So no, there was none of that at all. It was very warm and a great atmosphere. I felt very welcome.
Did you would you like next year the conference would be here or some other city, or Yekaterinburg is fine? How did you like the location?
I thought it was very interesting to be in Yekaterinburg. Of course, if I would come again, let's say next year or the year after, so it would be great to have, in Moscow or St. Petersburg or Novosibirsk, or whatever other city that we haven't seen. So just from a tourist point of view, let's say, it would be fun to be in another city. But I thought it was really fun to be here in Yekaterinburg, which is not on the radar, I think, of many many non-Russians. It's certainly not as well known as Moscow or St. Petersburg or other cities. But I thought it's a lovely city, and I'm actually going to spend all afternoon today walking around the city and seeing some of the monuments, etc.
Okay, thank you very much one more time for the interview, and on behalf of organizers, I think they'll support me, and on behalf of the audience, as a part of the audience, myself, I would like to thank you for being such a great speaker and such a, a treasure of the conference.
Oh, thank you.
And I wish you a nice walk in the city.
Thank you.
Yes, have a successful sightseeing.
Well, thanks so much for having me.